All right, this week's question of the week is, why don't I allow parents to coach their kids during kids class? And I thought that was an excellent question because it never fails. It always comes up. I'll see some parent on the bench trying to coach their kid during a sparring session, and the advice they give, one, probably the main reason I don't want you coaching your kid during class is, one, you don't know jiu-jitsu. You simply don't know what you're talking about, and that means you're giving your kid bad advice. And I know I'll get parents that are like, oh, I've watched a few classes, I got what you're doing. No, you don't. That's just like if you sign your child up for dance class out in town and the dance instructor is giving some advice and you watched a few episodes of Dancing with the Stars, that doesn't make you qualified to start giving advice in the dance class. Or if you say, well, back in my day, I could bust some moves at the club. You need to sit down and just be quiet. Let the dance instructor who you're paying to teach your child how to dance, let them do their job and teach your child. And you just sit back and encourage your child. Same thing with jiu-jitsu. The jiu-jitsu instructors, in most cases, are black belts, so they're experts at Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Even the purple belts that are teaching have been training for 5 to 7 years. Like, they would be experts in almost any field. And so they're teaching your child the correct way to do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. They're giving them correct strategies for sparring. You're on the bench in between text messages just yelling, hey, squeeze them harder, try harder. And you're just giving bad advice. And it would be bad enough it was just your child's growth that you was hindering. But it's not just your child that you're affecting when you do this. You are affecting the child that they're sparring with. Because that child now, instead of looking at it as a training session, is looking at it as almost like a tournament because, somebody's yelling and coaching against them. And, it's like now it becomes a tough environment for the other child that your child is sparring with. And at the end of the day, the parents that are doing this, you're just taking the fun out of jiu-jitsu from the kids. And the reality is less than 1% of all kids that try any sport are going to go on to be pros. So let the kids have fun. Don't steal their fun because your ego is attached to their outcome, or you somehow think after watching a few classes or watching some videos, or you saw the UFC on Saturday night, that you have the expertise to give them a good advice. So it not only will adversely affect your kid, but it'll also adversely affect the other kids who are just trying to train and they're trying to get better. And you're taking the fun out of it. And then also, I don't want my instructors to be in the position of telling your child that you gave them bad advice. So when my instructors are trying to teach your kids jiu-jitsu and you're giving them whatever advice from whatever wild idea that came to your head to spit out at your child to do, or however you misunderstood the techniques that they were supposed to be learning or trying to do, I don't want my instructors to be in the position of like, I know your dad said to do this, but your dad was wrong. Or I know your mom said, do it this way, but your mom understands the technique wrong. No, it's much easier for my instructors to teach your kid correctly the first time rather than undoing bad habits or bad techniques that you have now taught. Now it becomes more complicated. And like I said, I don't want my instructors contradicting their parents' advice, because I want the kids to respect their parents and to honor their parents and to know that their parents are a source of good advice in life. And that all starts to unravel when my instructors have to point out, your parents are wrong about jiu-jitsu. This is not the way to do the technique, or this is not the way to do this. So I don't want them in that position. I don't want you in that position. I don't want your kids in that position. I don't want my instructors in that position. I don't want my gym in that position. So I want kids class to be a positive learning environment. Same thing for adult class. Like, I don't allow adults to sit on the bench and coach adults that are sparring in class, because once again, that starts to make it a hostile environment. It's like two people are just training, and now it's more personal because somebody's coaching the other person. And They're doing it from the bench, and things can get out of hand. So I want to keep the fun in jiu-jitsu training. So don't take it from the kids. Don't take it from the adults. Just sit on the bench, encourage your kids. Encourage them to do better. Pat them on the shoulder after hard training, because some days you're going to do great in training, some days it's not going to be so great. A parent's love and encouragement is invaluable for those kind of days. They don't need your coaching when it comes to jiu-jitsu class. That's what the jiu-jitsu instructors are for. All right, so that's the answer for this week's question of the week. Got a question next week? Feel free to fire below. If you got any insights or comments, feel free to comment below, including if you disagree with me. Although, as one parent was about to learn the other day, when I said stop coaching your kid, and then they continued to coach the kid, I was like, hold on, I own this place. You about ready to get invited to leave. But